I'd like to call the regular meeting, council meeting for January the 19th to order. Let us please stand for our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just ask you and invite you into our meeting to lead us and guide us in all the decisions that we make. And we just ask that you bring peace and love to our community and to our country. Amen. Amen. At this time, we need to approve some minutes. So let's look at, were there any corrections to the January 5th minutes?
I have a correction.
Okay.
On page 11, there were two citizens who spoke in reference to the closing of Elm Street. On page 11, Bill Arrington and Janice Sims. Their home addresses should be part of the minutes, because when people speak, they give their name and home address.
Any other correction? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve the January 5th minutes?
I move.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. That was for the regular, okay, so we approved them both, so they're approved, the call meeting. Now we'll go on to our next item on our agenda, and that is the appointment to our downtown Nashville Strong. And it is just stating here, we have received a completed application from Larry Allen Hyde II to serve on the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board. Mr. Hyde owns property and operates a business, Hyde Financial Service, in the Nashville Municipal Service District. Mr. Hyde also has experience serving on an advisory board, having served on several civic and nonprofit boards according to his application. As a resident property owner and business person in Nashville's MSD, Mr. Hyde can bring a unique perspective to the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board. Persons eligible to serve on the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board are property owners within the MSD, residents of the town of Nashville, business owners with interest in the downtown area, and persons with knowledge and abilities deemed beneficial to the advisory board. The advisory board can have up to 11 members. We currently have 7. Amy Beasley, Kate Burns, Carrie Conrad, Brian Hudson, Susan Phelps, Cindy Cypers, and Luke Whitehead. If appointed, Mr. Hyde's appointment would be for 3 years, expiring June 30th, 2023. Do I hear a motion that we...
Mayor?
Yes.
A correction. I believe there are 9 members because we had already approved Donna Wood and
That's right.
Laura Wood.
I forgot about that. Sorry.
Donna Wood and Laura. Thanks for that. Do I hear a motion that we approve Alan Hyde to serve on this?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so Alan will be approved. He's not here tonight, is he? For this position. The next item on our agenda tonight is public comment period. Are there any people signed up for public comment tonight?
There's not.
No. Okay, we'll move on to our old business. And our old business is downtown directional public parking signs. Randy, do you want to discuss that?
Yes, it was brought up at the last meeting by Councilmember Burns, maybe a more stylish parking sign. So we reached out to Glasgow Sign Company and gave them what was handed out on it says page 6, but it's actually the 3rd page of what you find on your Tim Glasgow didn't have this ready to go when we put the packet together. I just got it from him today.
Okay.
Anyway, trying to model those parking signs on that 3rd page. And what he came up with is on page 2. And there would be 5 signs total on Washington Street. As we had said before, there would be 3 signs advising people as they come toward the Barnes Street Washington Street intersection, that there's public parking ahead, and then when you actually do get to the intersection, public parking with an arrow sign pointing into that parking lot. So these signs would be $3,175 or $74, and the previous ones were a little more generic. They were $2,268. So it was the Nashville downtown, or the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board's recommendation to approve up to $3,000 for signs. If you wanted to go with the little more attractive signs, you'd probably have to approve an amount not to exceed $4,000, because we still need to purchase mounting hardware and put it on the poles to put these up.
I wonder how well this color will show up underneath the blue. I've seen some, and I mean, it looks nice, but once you put it up, it doesn't stand out. So, that's just a thought.
Well, we can take this back to the advisory board. I mean, they're meeting next week, I believe, the 25th, and we can share the cost estimates for these and have more discussion about the color, and they can bring back, another recommendation to the council if you'd like.
I think that would be a good idea.
I do. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
So if Randy, if you would do that, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Our next item on our agenda is consider the request from Nashville Inter-Club Council for the town to allocate $2,500 for the Nashville Community Center roof. Randy, do you want to take care of? Oh, there you are. Okay. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. Randy called me this.
Can you state your name?
State your name and your address.
I'm Jim Boehm, and I'm on the Inter-Club Council. Been on it for almost 20 years now.
Can we get your
But
address,
anyway,
Jim?
Jim, give your address, please.
It's 1565 Glen, Glen, Eagles, Eagles, Court, Nashville.
Okay. That's all we need. You're good to go.
Oh, darn it.
Social Security number.
It's good evening. It's good to be here. As we know, you probably saw the letter that I wrote Mr. Lansing on behalf of the Inter-Club Council, and we were requesting $2,500. What we did, the roof was leaking. We needed a new roof. The current roof was a 25-year shingle roof, but it only lasted 13 years. And we found out there was no vents causing the shingles to become brittle. So we went out and got bids from various companies, and they ranged from $6,875 to $17,000. It was and it averaged out to around $10,500. Well, anyway, we did have vents put in across the top of the roof, so that we'll have a better airflow coming out. We went with this company, Wayne Roofing, and they put it up. Randy asked me to do a real fast little story about the thing. I don't know if you know it or not, but this September 1st of 2021 will be 70 years that the community building has been available to the citizens here. So it's got a long history, and it was started back by the Nashville Garden Club. They approached the train company who was going to get rid of the train station, and half of the train station went to make this building possible. The other half went to Rocky Mountain. In 1956, the Inter-Club Council was actually formed then, and it was based on the various organizations in town. The Nashville Chamber of Commerce, a representative from there, American Legion, Woodman of the Year, National Professional Women's, and the Nashville Lions Club. At the beginning, it was interesting because, and back up, the grandson of the Leona Cherry, Leona ran the building for many, many years. And then the people involved with the garden club, Gertrude Kennedy, and her husband Billy was the town manager then. Dorothy Linkey, she was the husband of the owner of the Graphic, and then the Wilson brothers bought it out. So the Graphic. So they were involved. Willard Insco was Don Glisson, Sonny Brantley, and were members, and Sonny is still with us. I got all this information from our historian Joanne Cooper, who was a member of the board many, many years ago. And she remembers various things that happened. And the one thing she remembered was Shorty Thomason, who and her husband were with AA. And they would come to every meeting of the board and to be there because they used it on every Sunday night for AA to come in and have their meetings and so forth. I'm here to request some money, I think it was $2,500, to help us towards this. As you know, with the COVID, we have not been able to rent it out. We have no income coming in since this February of this last year. And this has been really hurting us a lot. So this redoing this roof for $6,875, we're down to nubbins. So anything that the council, the board here can do to help us, we'd appreciate it.
Do any of you have any questions for him?
I don't really have any questions, Mayor, but I would like to say I think that the community building has just served us for such a very long time and been a great support. I know that even the town from time to time has used the building for various things, and I'd like to see the town make this effort to offer the support to the inner club council for it. So I make the motion that we grant the $2,500 request.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You have your $2,500.
Well, thank you very, very much. It's a great asset. I mean, this when we're in the peak of the years and stuff, we've rented it out during the week. To dance groups. We've rented it out to various community, family groups, and so forth. And it's been. We only charge $100. So there's no place you can go.
Can't beat
for
that.
that amount of space and get it. We haven't raised our price yet, but we may have to.
Jim, you might want to plan on a rainy day fund. This has been a wake-up call for all of us. In other words, put money aside for maintenance from time to time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is the library policy and procedure manual, and the library needs a policy and procedure manual, and the librarian, the director, has developed one for us. So I'll give it over to you, Keila.
I just wanted to say that, so what I did when I got here, I received, developed some policies I need to work on towards the end of my first year. And one of my goals was to look and see that I need to improve or to make changes to the policy and procedure manual, but I didn't find one. So what I did was I looked back at some of the things that the other directors had, that they were trying to compile one. Emily told me that it had to be one to be developed. So what I did was I went by the ALA guidelines, American Library Association, so you know where I got everything from. And I also wanted to make sure that each piece was like a compilation from different departments. So I spoke to Sam, I believe, finance. I spoke to Chief Joynham. You know, and I can keep going. Each department with human resources. about their part, like the description, job description. That's not something that I put, that came from food, for instance. So each piece is just like I compiled things that we have to use also at the library. So I know the rules and regulations for libraries, so I just had to incorporate all those. I know it's kind of a lengthy document, but I tried to make sure that the town was covered and not liable for a lot of things. And at the end of the day, I took it and then I worked on it with the board, of course, the library board. And also, I let the town attorney take a look at it as well. And so this is what I present today to you.
It looks very nice. I read it. The only thing that sort of made me go is where you said advocate for a new facility, and I thought, oh my God, let us get the fire station first. But it is it's very thorough and
We just paid this off. It was a break, however.
But anyway, do I hear a motion that we adopt these, allow her to go on with these rules, the library policy?
Move that we adopt these new policies.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you so very much.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, because it's hard to have a library without being able to present the community the rules that we have established here. So like if we have any issues, we can actually let them see it in black and white, and so they can be able to see it for themselves. And I just say thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Doing a great job. Our next item on our agenda is the review and approval upset bid policy for the financial department. Who would like to handle that? Would you like to do that, Sam?
Well, as the agenda report says, from time to time, we have people inquire about land that the town owns. We're not actively marketing it or to sell it. What comes to mind is the lot we have on North Lumber, 215. Since I've been here, we've had 3 different inquiries. And, you explain to the people when they call the procedure, we have to go through and you give them a copy of the state statute on that. And they read that and maybe they just look at it and that's the last you hear from them about it. So Sam brought this up, that it would be good for us to have our own policy that mirrors the state statute. So she took a stab at writing one up, which is on page 8, and it's an 8-step. I think it's about as basic and elementary as we can make it, but it's thorough enough to let everybody know this is the process we have to go through. And in the state of North Carolina, if you want to buy a piece of property from a town or a county, you have to follow this process. They have to give us their bid or what they're willing to pay for the property in writing, along with a check. Then we publish notice in the paper that we have an active bid on this, and here's what it is. If you would like a chance on this property, you can give us your own proposal, but it's got to be 10% more than what we've already gotten a bid for. And we do that until we exhaust and we don't get any more. And then, it's up to the council then to award the sale to the high bid. Now, it's interesting, we transfer this property not by a warranty deed, it's called a non-warranty deed. So that means, basically buyer beware. You have to do your due diligence as a buyer, have a title search done on it to know if there are any liens and that kind of thing on the property. But I guess Sam and I are recommending that we adopt this as the town's policy for upset bids.
Randy, I think this is a good policy, but some years ago, I think we got a piece of property up on the hill behind the courthouse on Vale Street that the town did not advertise it for sale or nothing, but we had an individual or company, Louis, I think you remember, they just came in and offered us a bid for it, and we almost were getting ready to sell it, but we haven't never advertised it. Now, who initiates the sale of it? Are we going to let buyers just offer a bid, or do we put something up for sale and then they offer a bid?
Well, you could, if you're really interested in trying to sell the properties, maybe we could put them on the website, so let them have a list of the properties that we have for sale. Other than that, from time to time, just like Randy said, we just get occasional call about people inquiring about what they need to do to purchase one of our property.
Well, for example, the lot on Lumber Street, we probably put at least 15,000 in that with legal fees and tearing down the building and whatnot. So, people come in and they want to lowball, and they don't understand that, the town has money invested already. So,
Well, whatever the bid is, we do have the option to
Yeah.
decline.
That's right.
Sam,
Set a minimum
what
bid,
you,
if you wanted to, on the website, list the properties and list like a minimum bid that you would accept, it's one option.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
no,
Lynn?
I was going to say, what you've done watering it down is very good, thank you.
Very good.
So do I hear a motion that we adopt this proposal?
Move to approve.
Second?
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so the motion carries to adopt the proposed upset bid policy for the sale of town-owned real estate. Our next item on our agenda, we're going to defer that to another meeting. D, that will be deferred to another meeting, the request to write off delinquent utility and tax account.
Why is that being deferred?
Just some questions came up about it, and some council people wanted more discussion.
Louise, we thought it would be beneficial to have the auditor here to kind of explain this procedure. I mean, everything that was on that list is more than 10 years old, and the town can write that off. We really have no way of collecting. Most of the people on that, probably who are listed on here, aren't even alive anymore. But, it would be good to have the auditor come and explain the reason why we need to do this. Sam's explained it to me that this stuff being on our books skews our revenue coming in, because it's there as an account receivable, but we're never going to be able to collect on it in most cases. There are some on here that we can, and we pursued in recent years the debt offset program, which has brought a lot of this in. But we discovered a house hasn't paid property taxes since 1996, owes the town $15,000, and the property has been run down to a point where it probably wouldn't bring $3,000 on the open market right now, and it probably cost $12,000 to go through a foreclosure. That would allow the town to force the sale of it, but the sale wouldn't cover the cost. And I don't know what you do about properties in that situation. I talked to Donna at Nash County today about that. She said the county has several of those, and it's perplexing. You don't know what to do. There's no good way to collect that debt without spending a lot of money, and in the end, you end up with nothing anyway. But that's just one extreme example.
Could we not solicit the help of a collection agency to help us out? Because this is a lot of money to write off.
Yeah, I want to just kind of clarify, I don't intend to forget about these debts. We're going to still pursue collections on these debts. I'm just wanting to remove them from our books. And the reason why I'm wanting to kind of do this right now, we're doing our software upgrade. We've already kind of gone underway with that. And so actually anything beyond 10 years is not even going to be there in our software. It's not even going to convert over. So the numbers will be there, but the accounts themselves, we won't have access to it in the software anyway. And that's kind of the same with utilities. But we're going to still continue to pursue collections, whatever method we have available.
I do think it might be prudent of the town to consider a write-off policy for you, because some of those, when it's down to $1, $2, there's no amount of money you want to put towards trying to collect those amounts. So at some point, maybe we need to look at having a policy for those small amounts. But certainly anything that's of anything $100 or more, we definitely want to try to pursue as much as we can, I think.
You'll
But
have to see a resolution in the next meeting. Anything $5 and less by statute, we're allowed to kind of write off.
okay.
So that would be on the next agenda.
One thing citizens who do pay don't want to hear is write-offs.
That's right.
Exactly.
That is an affront to every citizen in this town who tries to pay their taxes, and many people struggle to do it. And when they see this,
Yeah, I read
and
this
you're talking
last.
about write-offs,
I read through this last night till I
it
made it
angers
sick.
people,
That's
and
right.
it should.
And so I do want to clarify, just for that record, we in no way are going to forget about these debts or forgive them. We're going to continue to pursue collections like I say, with whatever method we have available. We're just gonna basically remove the balance from the balance sheet.
Have we done anything to try to collect these these debts lately?
Yes,
Lately?
yes. So
And
I've
no
actually
response?
looked into, one suggestion, like for your suggestion, I've looked into some debt collection agents and some other things. Anything that is available to us at this time, we've already done, debt set-off, and a couple other methods that we have available, such as like bank attachments and wage garnishments. You have to have the information in order to do it, and we just simply don't have it. But there is a company I'm looking into. Hopefully I can present that to you guys soon. We can actually kind of like purchase that information for like a small fee, and then we could actually either pursue those methods, or we could pay that company and they could just take care of it, the whole thing themselves. Just something I'm looking into.
And
We
this
wouldn't
is,
get the whole amount, but we could get something.
and this is typical of every local government. County and municipality always run into this situation. And ordinarily what happens, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when the auditors come in, there'll be an advisement to write off that 11th year, and usually the amount's fairly small. I was actually a little surprised that our prior auditors had not been prudent enough to help the town recognize that. So that was kind of a concern I had. But obviously our new auditors have seen it and addressed it, and you've addressed it with them.
Yes,
So.
ma'am, this is the further suggestion.
Any other discussion?
How are we coming on taxes for this
So,
year?
in my report, I did include that, so we've actually collected $2.279 so far.
Okay, I
So we've
noticed,
got a little over 130,000 left to collect.
okay, on this report, it says 148,000.
Yeah, 148.
Any other questions? If not, let's move on to our next item, item E. Approve amendment to the Personnel Policy Resolution 2021-04, Article 7, increasing the resignation notice requirements for the department head positions from 2 weeks to 30 days. And that you saw in your packet where it just says, after reviewing the turnover of key positions during the past year, it has been determined that a 2-week notice is an insufficient amount of time to properly advertise, recruit, and/or hire, and handle the transition process for employees leaving these key positions. While our policy currently requires a 2-week notice for any resignation, a 30-day notice is standard at most municipalities for department head positions. A 30-day resignation notice requirement for department head positions would allow for a more proper transition period and would allow more time for the recruitment process, ensuring that the position would be vacant for less time before a replacement could be brought on board. And attached, you saw the Resolution 2021-04 amendment to the town's personnel policy to provide for an additional 30-day notice of resignation for department head positions. Do I have any discussion about this from the council? Any recommendations? Do you recommend the approval of this? Do I hear a
I
motion?
move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so the Personnel Policy, Article 7 is approved. Now we will go to the next item on our agenda, which is the review and discuss approved sanitation worker pay policy. And that is 7F. Randy, you want to talk about that one?
Sure. So, as you know, the town has had a policy when it comes to the sanitation routes that if everything goes well, there's no equipment breakdown, the trash put out is light, the traffic is good, there's no wait at the transfer station, the guys finish the route in 7 hours or 6 3/4, that when they get back, if their supervisor doesn't have anything else for them to do, they're allowed to clock out, go home, and they get paid for an 8-hour day. That's been the practice in Nashville, like many other towns that run their own garbage routes. It's very common. We've never had that in writing. So I took took the opportunity to draft an amendment to the personnel policy that puts that language in the personnel policy. So there are expectations there that can be communicated with all the employees who may be assigned to a garbage route for a particular day. Now we have sanitation employees that usually run the route, but from time to time they go on vacation or they have a situation where they're not feeling well, and somebody else draws the short straw and they get to do the garbage route. And this policy would apply to everybody who runs the route. Now, it does not include the bulk route. It's only for the regular garbage routes.
Thank you, Randy. Do I have any,
I move that we accept this policy.
do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
So this resolution 2021-05 for the sanitation incentive pay is approved.
Randy, I would hope, and I'm quite sure you guys have already had a close hand on over this, but with this, if you finish your route in 7 hours rather than 8 hours, I hope this doesn't prompt some of the employees to become unsafe out there to try to finish the 8-hour route in 6 hours. If we catch anybody being unsafe, trying to reach that point, I think we need to stop that immediately. I'm quite sure you've already looked at that. So, because some people, you give them an inch, they'll take them out. So.
Thanks. Mr. Lanson, do you have anything in your manager's report?
I've mentioned to the council members in my weekly report with regard to the covenants for our West Nashville Commerce Park, that there are some things in there that we're not complying with and probably won't going in the future. And the covenants do have a procedure for amending those. It does require an official meeting of the declarants, which in this case is the town council, and the only other property owner out there, which is Lee Balance, have a meeting, and we give a 30-day notice on that meeting. And so I planned on doing that, calling a meeting in February 16th. Then we would have that declarant meeting right here as part of the council meeting, and then we would go over the amendments to that, things that come to mind right offhand. It says that no property shall be platted under 2 acres in size. Well, the very first lot we created out there was less than 2 acres. It's where the Astera Labs building is. There's also requirements in there that parapet walls be put up so you can't see any of the roof slope. I'm not sure where that came from, but you know, it's extremely hard to get water off a roof if the walls,
Right.
and other things like that. You know, I guess I look at it as it is a commercial / industrial park. If we wanted a professional office park, I could see some of these things being applicable, but being this is a commercial industrial park, I really don't see any need with them. But in order to follow the rules of the covenants to the T, we have to call an advance meeting with a minimum of 30 days, not more than 60-day notice, and then have the actual meeting. So I'm working on that. And Sherry, did you have anything you wanted to bring up?
No, other than we had our steering committee meeting today, and as you all may have some of the packets, we had a total of 33 people that participate, well actually 30, that participated in the drop-by workshop. And so these were different people that attended the January 13th versus December 3rd. So overall, maybe a total of maybe 60 plus people who may have participated in the drop-by workshop. And you have the results in the packet.
They are interesting to look at,
Yeah.
the comments especially.
So the next steps are looking to maybe draft the business statement.
Thank you, Sherry, so very much. And thank
That's all
you.
I have.
Okay, thanks, Randy. Any comments from the council members? You, Mr. Taylor?
None for me, Mayor.
Actually, I do have a question, if you know it tonight, Randy or Sam. Have you all scheduled any budget session meetings yet? Do we have anything on the calendar?
March 30th,
Say again, I'm sorry.
March 30th.
March.
Yeah, we had put those in with the meeting schedule. Sarah can send that out again.
Okay, and I'm just picking up those dates apparently.
9
It was in your
o'clock
last
on March 30th.
Yeah.
Hopefully hopefully our auditor will be able to present on February 16th.
And the auditors are presenting February 16th. That's good.
Do we have a schedule for recycle pickup for year 21? We do?
Is that on the website
It is
now?
on the website, and it's, of course, at the front.
It's at front?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then just one last comment, Mayor. Last meeting, I believe it was, the council voted for me to be the representative for us to the North Carolina League of Municipalities to select goals to that we want to have them represent on behalf of local municipalities, and I have submitted that. The goals were securing federal, in no particular order, securing federal and state aid directly to municipalities to offset all lost revenues due to COVID-19, expand incentives and funding for local economic development, refine economic tier designation system to more accurately reflect conditions at sub-county level, revitalize vacant and abandoned properties with enhanced legal tools and funding, increase state and federal funding for affordable housing, create a permanent and adequate funding stream for local infrastructure needs, and provide funding to keep aging water and sewer systems financially solvent today and viable for the future. Out of the 17, those were the ones I felt were probably most critical to us, and so we at least are getting our voice mixed in with the other municipalities in trying to help keep the legislature moving forward in areas that will help us.
Good, thanks.
Of those, I would say water and sewer is uppermost.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Uppermost.
Did you have any other comments?
My question about the $2,500 that was requested for the roof at the community building. Do we have any fund that we could go to, any line item other than fund balance?
I would have to look, we probably just have to kind of reallocate some funds from something. I'm sure we
Okay.
could probably find some.
We're having a hard time sticking to our budget. That's my concern.
And I'm assuming that the COVID funds that we've gotten have all been allocated. Sam, is that true?
We've got a little bit left, and they've actually extended the due date, so we've got until December of this year to spend those.
You mean the 88,000?
Yes.
We just got to go for
We've got
COVID
a little
stuff.
bit left
Yeah.
of that.
But, I mean, I think we could justify that possibly because they have lost revenue.
Exactly.
Right, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might could
right.
be used for that. Yeah.
Like a little of that?
Yes.
One other thing, Kate isn't here this evening. I know she was going to bring up, you probably read in the paper, Tarboro is pursuing a complaint with the Attorney General with regard to one of the telecommunication providers in Tarboro. And other towns have been echoing that same concern. Is that something that you would like Nashville to participate in?
Yes,
Absolutely.
and I'm glad you,
Which
I had
one
it on
is
my
it?
mind, but I
Suddenly.
forgot. I'm glad you brought it up. Because I've had three calls from people. Matter of fact, I forwarded one that I bounced one off of you. How many suppliers did we have? They said they were fed up with Suddenly and having problems. Yeah, I think we need to be included.
Erin Jones is our contact, right?
Yes.
She should be on top of that.
It's, I don't know if any of you have dealt with the company, but it's an exercise in frustration.
Yes.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
But what reminded me was the priorities of the league, and I really would like to see the league to have a priority to take something to the General Assembly to allow underserved areas in the state of North Carolina have their local units of government provide. It's a utility similar to water and sewer. I know in other states, telecommunication utilities are provided, created and done by towns all over the place. And, you know, it goes straight to the grassroots, which is what this state and this part of the country is built on. When you have a problem and it's not being served by an investor-owned company, people organize at the local level and get it done. And you know what I see here is a very similar situation. The upgrades needed for broadband and internet infrastructure in Nashville, there's not a great return on investment. Therefore, it's not happening. That doesn't mean,
Not enough competition.
well, that is
Exactly right.
anyway.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Please include us.
We'll do that.
Any other comments? If not, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Then I declare this meeting adjourned. Be safe, and we'll see you
Next time.